What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the very first Yamcast, the very first podcast we're doing on these. We got 2 cameras going here. We got everything professionally set up. Obviously, as you can see, we're actually in our new studio and office space, which is kind of badass that we have that now.
Yeah, totally. I'm looking through these doors here and I see all our giveaway bikes right there. It's awesome.
Yeah. So be sure to check out that video later. We're going to do a nice little tour of the space so you guys can see what's going on here. But this is our kind of new podcast situation. Keeping it kind of low key here. I think what we'll do is a fun little news section. Then we're going to do a call-in section where people are going to call us in. That should be interesting. And then we will do a final It Came From Craigslist special podcast edition. So without further ado, because I have to say that in every video, no matter if it's a podcast or not, let's do this. All right. So, first bit of news that we have here is this new CBF concept that Honda has made. Kind of harkens back to the old 919 a little bit, but you kind of think it looks a bit like a Husky, huh? Looking at it over here.
Yeah, I mean, it very much reminds me of the Vitpillen 701 with the like flat round headlight, the side-on just like silver one-piece look to it. It's a unique looking motorcycle. I know it's a concept, so it can still change, but personally, not a big fan of it, honestly.
No. I think that rear end is really sick. I really like that.
There's pieces of it that I love and there's pieces that I don't. So the article itself is saying that it's looking like the 919.
Yeah.
It looks like the Gen 1 919. So for those of you who don't know, the 919 came out originally in the 80s. And then they made it for a couple of years. It was a kind of classic UJM bike. And it looked okay. And then in 2002, they brought the 919 back with the CB900RR, CBR 900RR inline 4 detuned for the street.
Yeah.
And that bike's a beast. It's an awesome motorcycle.
Yeah, that's our Hensai Hornet, if you guys don't know. The one we did is the 919. I only got to ride it around the block one time before I started tinkering with it and eventually blew it up and it didn't work well. But really cool bike, really torquey, just like raw analog. It's awesome. Yeah, it's a great bike.
It's a crazy ride because you can really feel the sport bike power in it because it literally is the 900RR, and I know in the comments y'all are gonna be like, no, actually it's not, it's this, actually.
Like the dude yesterday who said the KTM 390 doesn't make 42 horsepower, it makes 43.5 because half a horsepower, you have the back half of a horse just galloping in a goddamn circle giving you power, right? That's how that works. Y'all are ridiculous sometimes. Just wanted to put that out there. Yeah, that motor screams though. It's a great engine.
Yeah, and you know, I took it up to like 140 indicated, and it feels
you goddamn squid.
Rock solid. It's unbelievable how just smooth that engine is.
Yeah.
And it has just this like really meaty, lopey sound at idle.
Yeah.
One weird problem, and the 919 boys can back me up on this, it stinks. The bike smells awful when you ride it.
Really?
Yeah, so the undertail exhaust, when you put an exhaust on there and take the cat out of the mid pipe, it just smells so awful.
It's so weird. You know, it's funny, when we had ours, I think ours was a 2006, right? I remember one on the Discord, I'd never know what year it was. I was like, it's an 07, it's an 06, but I'm pretty sure it's an 06. It had that really kind of vintagey, kind of mid-2000s bike smell to me. The Busa smells the same way.
Yep.
It's that kind of old school, you know, vintagey mid-2000s kind of smell to it. But back to this concept bike, because we were talking about that one. I think it looks really badass. The one thing that concerns me though is, you know, since it's based on the CB1000R or F, the new one that they're making, that's like the
CB1000R.
CB1000R, yeah, which is kind of like the 650's big brother. People have not really said good things about that bike. I haven't ridden one, but a lot of people are like, I don't really get this bike. You know, if it's trying to compete with a Tuono or a Super Duke, like what's the point? And I personally think that it's like, I think 140 horsepower is more than enough to have fun with. But if you are talking about a bike that's gonna cost 14 grand and only makes 140 horsepower, doesn't have all the features that some of the other bikes have, that's a tough sell, you know?
Yeah, it's the same sort of situation that the CB650 finds itself in, where it doesn't quite compete with the rest of the 650 class, But when you ride it like you ride a 650, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, so try and think of the CB1000 as like, you know, an expensive Ninja 1000.
Yeah.
You know, it's more punchy than the standard naked fully fared 1000 bikes out there, of which there's not a ton.
It's a dying breed, yeah.
But it's a very unique ride, and I think that's why people say they don't get it.
Yeah, I will say this cockpit's pretty sick though.
That TFT dash looks gorgeous, and Honda needs to put that kind of thing on all their bikes going forward.
With that aluminum tank, the TFT dash, that looks like a great place to sit. But let's look at some of the specs on it. We're just talking about the looks. Let's see here. So MCN put out this article. So yeah, it's based on a CB1000R. It shares the same engine from it. This one has a handcrafted tank, which is pretty sick. I was talking about, it has that kind of brushed aluminum look. Yeah, you're right. It really does have such a kind of Vitpillen, you know, husky kind of vibe to it. This doesn't feel that Honda to me in a lot of ways.
I also like the dual horn look there. That's definitely
that's cool.
Old school.
Yeah.
For those of y'all who don't know, back in the day, the horns were right under the headlight.
The MT-03's like that.
Yeah, the MT-03 only has the one though.
Yeah,
so
with the face only a mother could love.
But I mean, I love the bikes that Honda puts out. They're so well built, well crafted, and well thought about. Yeah. That, you know, despite being a little down on power, probably a little overpriced. Yeah. I'm usually in for them.
Yeah. I mean, Honda they take a long time to make their bikes, and then they just spend an inordinate amount of time over engineering them. You know, of all the big four manufacturers, I think Honda is probably the highest quality one for sure. I've ridden a lot of them and felt a lot of them. Like, I mean, I love Yamahas, but they definitely feel built to a price. It's got a totally different feel to it.
And that's why Hondas come with a more expensive price tag.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
this CBF is pretty cool. I really doubt it'll make it into production since it is just a concept, but it's pretty sick. Yeah.
Honestly, if they brought it back in the style of the 2007 one, which was the one that I owned, I'd be all over it in a heartbeat. Yeah. Honestly, that
like an updated version of it.
Yeah. The the 919 had a lot of weird eccentricities about it. But the way that it had the two sweeping needles, that's
also a dying breed, the analog clocks.
Yeah, just the mid 2000s, like the grab bar behind you, the one-piece plank seat. If they brought that back, VFR's gone. I buy the new CB1000. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what they could do if they wanted to compete with the Z900, which is a great selling bike, is make their own version of one, right? Yeah. Make a new CB919, bring it back. Like, people are loving like that 80s and 90s retro kind of vibe to it. You could do. I can honestly see them doing like the two analog gauges like it has, but with like TFT displays inside of them that are digital, you know, and that could be really sick. I'm getting excited just thinking about it because that would be cool, a Z900 competitor, because people are loving that bike, but Honda won't do that.
No, unfortunately, I think what we will see is something closer to this. Yeah. You know, that standard 1000 with the real old school looks. Yeah. Because unfortunately, 2007 is not far enough away to be in vogue again.
It's not. Yeah.
So if we give it another 20 years, it'll come back around.
It'll come back around. Then people have their scene haircuts again. They'll have their tight skinny jeans and their checkered Vans. 2007 will come back to us full fold. So yeah, pretty cool bike. Let's look at the next bike for our news, because I think this one's a big deal. People are really excited about this one. It is the new KTM 890 Duke. So this is interesting, mostly because the 790 is a pretty new bike. That came out not too long ago.
Honestly, people say they don't understand the CB1000. I don't understand why this exists.
Because more is better, that's why.
Yeah, this is exactly a more is better philosophy. Yeah. It's just another 100 cc's on a bike that already makes 115 horsepower. Yeah. I mean, everybody's gonna say they need it, but do you really need it?
I agree. I personally, I'm with you. I don't really get why KTM was like, oh, let's bump up the displacement on our 790, because 790 is a gem of a bike. Yeah. Everyone that's ridden one, it's kind of like our, baby Duke, but with like just even more go juice. Everyone says it's rad. So I don't really get why they bumped up the displacement. Maybe to compete with the Z900 and the Street Triple 765, but even then the Street Triple 765, I felt like the 790 was right there with it. I didn't see why they needed to bump up the displacement.
You know what would be really cool with this, and we might be getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, is taking that bike, putting it in a fully faired plastic and having it be a race bike.
I'm telling you, man, that's what I would love for KTM to do, is make an RS660 competitor with the 790 engine and a fully faired chassis, make it like an RC 790 type of thing. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Yeah, because it's the perfect power figure, perfect weight figures, so they can get it down enough. That'd be sick. Yeah. And twins racing right now is really big, especially in Moto America. They're doing the FC650s, the FC07s, lots of people racing those. That would be f***ing awesome. Yeah, that would be amazing. But let's see what they say here on Cycle World. So yeah, they're saying that, you know, it's kind of a light and compact 790 upgrade to it, right? But kind of more of a racy attitude. But again, I don't really see the point, and this is kind of like my opinion on like the Hyper Nakeds as well. I don't get the idea behind making a naked big displacement engine, or sorry, a naked motorcycle with a big displacement engine that doesn't have the proper, you know, fairings and wind protection, to make that into like a race bike. Like, what's the point? You know, like, I want my naked bike to be a street bike. I don't want my naked bikes to be a race bike. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and I totally get where you're coming from, thinking about, you know, I think the best Hyper Naked out there, and this is definitely going to light the comments on fire, is the MT10. You do not need something like the Super Duke. That 1290 engine putting down like 180-ish, like it's ridiculous how fast it is. Like, I rode a 2015 and it tore my arms off. It's insane, and you're never ever gonna get to be able to use that on the street.
Yeah.
Whereas something like the MT10, it's putting down a ton of power, but
and that MT10 is a sweetheart. I rode the one in Tucson. It is just so effortless to get it on the side, and it feels every bit like an R1. It's so awesome. It's hideous. I hate the way it looks. But when you're on it, you don't look at it, and it all kind of goes away. Yeah, MT10's a cool bike. Yeah.
And I think it's of the Hyper Nakeds, it's the one that I'd buy.
Yeah. Yeah, and this, you know, this 890, it's like you're saying, if you wanted a Hyper Naked, you'd want at least 1,000 cc's. You wouldn't want something with 130-ish horsepower. You'd want something that, you know, puts down a stonking, you know, 160, 170, 180 horsepower.
And then what's the point? Because you got the Super Duke.
Yeah. So I don't know, this 890, I'm not really understanding it. Maybe you guys in the comment section can kind of walk me through why this is, you know, a cool thing to have. But for me, I just feel like the 790 was the right kind of blend, you know?
I mean, this shot right here feels like a Super Duke. Honestly,
yeah.
It just looks like a Super Duke with a parallel twin big engine in it.
Yeah. But let us know in the comments what you think about the 890 Duke, and then also the new CBF concept. Would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on those. But yeah, let's roll over to the call-in section, see what the boys have to say.
This will be good.
Yeah, this will be interesting. Alrighty, everybody, we are now going to do the call-in section of our show. We're going to get some folks to call in from our Discord server. Of course, if you guys want to join up and have fun and give us a call and chat with us, you can join our Discord server, yammie.co. But let's share the number and let's do this.
No, I think I accidentally hit the button because I wasn't on hold.
Oh, okay. Hey, we got 3 people on here. What's up? Give us a call. We're taking calls for the podcast. Maybe people are shy.
Yeah, probably. No one wants to be the first one.
Well, I know that Taco said he was going to jump on and do it. So let's see.
Oh, here comes our first one. All right, you're on.
Hey, it's Skylar, actually. What's up?
Hey, Skylar, what's up, man? The original Skylar?
The OG.
Oh, my God. And you're the OG on here, too, man. I can't believe it.
How crazy.
Yeah. So we're trying to do this call-in podcast show. I have no idea how it's going to go. So do you have a question for us? Do you have anything you want to talk to us about?
Hell, that's a fair enough question for me. I obviously don't want to go with something stupid like, oh, what's the best beginner motorcycle, you know?
Ninja 300 or R3, right?
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
What kind of music do you generally listen to? Both you and Spite.
Spite, I'll let you go first with that one. What music do you listen to?
I'm pretty simple. I listen to mostly just heavy metal. I will occasionally listen to some electronic music, just if it's got like a nice driving beat. But I'm a metalhead through and through.
Yeah. I think people would definitely get that vibe from you. Yeah.
Yep.
Me, I like a lot of, like ambient, droney, textural type of things. I like classical music a lot. As you guys know, I put it on the channel. But, not immune to listening to pop music as well. I'm actually really enjoying The Weeknd's new album. It's actually really quite surprising and quite good. So, yeah.
Oh, tight. Yeah, I've just been vibing recently. Been listening to a lot of King Gizzard, a lot of the Eagles and Pink Floyd and stuff.
Oh, hell yeah. King Gizzard's great. Yeah. All right, Skylar, we got someone else on the call here. We're going to take their call, but thank you for calling, man. I appreciate it.
Go for it. You both have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thanks, man.
You too. Hey, Trevor!
Trevor, you're on the air.
I am on the air. That is awesome. Big fan, guys. First time listener, first time caller. Probably gonna be the only time, but I'm in my bedroom, kicking my legs, talking to you. I'm very excited.
Oh, this is so great. Are you whispering sweet nothings into your pillow while we talk to you, or are you just hanging out there, twiddling your fingers and such?
Actually, I have a body pillow of you.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. You have the one and only Yammie waifu.
That's it.
Yeah. Trevor, what is your question or what is your comment? Let us know, man.
I have a two-part question.
Okay.
First, would you rather have a VFR 800 Deluxe or two VFR 800s, one in red and one in white?
You son of a bitch. I gotta go with the second option because then I get two bikes instead of one. But is the Deluxe a special edition or something? What's going on with that?
It comes with an extra few bells and whistles.
Okay.
That the others don't come with, but nothing you can't add on yourself.
Except for maybe the traction control.
Yeah.
Indeed. The question is, have you ridden Spite's VFR 800, and are you going to do a review about that? Because if you don't, you should, because it has VTEC, because when it has the maximum suck. So.
I have ridden your bike actually, right? I rode it really briefly when we were riding back to Yammie Noob HQ. But it's a nice bike. The VTEC thing is pretty cool. Like you really do feel it. It does feel like I'm on like the Civic of motorcycles because it really comes on and you can really feel it. It's a really smooth ride. Yeah.
We should definitely do a review of it. I've seen some other people in the comments clamoring for it.
Some people do want a review of the VFR. Yeah, we'll do for the VFR. Just for Trevor, our VFR boy.
That's it. VTEC, life. Love y'all. Kisses.
Yeah.
Hugs and kisses. Dream about y'all. I'm naming my second kid after y'all.
Oh, thank you. First name Yammie, second name Spite, right?
Oh, boy.
With a hyphen.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm gonna go have a cigarette now.
All right, enjoy your cigarette.
Have fun.
See you, man. Always a pleasure to hear from Trevor St. McGoodbody, a veteran Discord boy. He's been there since the very beginning, right? Like
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, he's been there since the 919, I think, since the Hentai Hornet.
Yep, he was the other first mod with me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the Hornet was funny because that was back when I call it the wild, wild west days of the Discord, where it's like 30 of us in there instead of like the hundreds that have now, and then it was just like, yeah, it was a different time. Oh, we got another caller, Joshua. Let's see what's going on. Joshua, what is going on, man? You are on the air of, what is this, Yamcast? I don't even know what we're calling this. All right. What's up, man?
Start.
What's going on, Yam and Spite? My question for you guys this week is if you have made a final decision on which direction we're going to take the XSR.
Oh, that's a good one. I think we've kind of decided to do kind of a brat style with it, kind of an old school kind of brat style. I think we're kind of going that direction. Spite, I think you kind of looking more at the mods in that, right?
Yeah, so I have the entire mods list sitting in a spreadsheet, and we're definitely going towards the brat flat tracker look. It definitely is going to require a lot of work, but I think when we're done, it's going to look really mean, especially with the two-tone tank.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a special seat coming and then a special fender eliminator that should really kind of clean it up and make it look cool. Looking at some tire options as well, and then just going to go and hit it on some gravel roads and see what it can do. Hopefully not beat it up too much because it is a giveaway bike, but yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. I'm kind of glad you guys went for that style, versus not really the played out cafe look, but something that's very common with that versus going more of the adventure off-road flat track style. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we're just trying to do it like Jake the Garden Snake with his FZ07 adventure build. We're trying to do something like that could be cool. Get some knobbies on there.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome, guys.
All right, thanks for calling, man.
No worries.
All right, that was a good one. Talking about the XSR.
Yep.
I gotta ride that bike a little bit more because I feel like I've spent a lot of time on the triple and the KTM, but not as much on the XSR. I really want to get a little more seat time in it.
The XSR is because I rode it for a long time when we were doing the Harley video. It feels very strange and light, and then you suddenly crack open the throttle and that front wheel comes up on you.
Yeah, it reminds you that it's an FZ07.
It's so antithetical to the general look of the bike, which is why I think putting the knobbies on there and doing a gravel road thing would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it would be really, really cool.
All right, we got another one coming in.
Got another one? John, what is up, man? You are on the Yammie show. How's it going?
Pretty good. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller.
I think everybody's a first-time caller today.
This is R.W. John from Delaware.
Oh, awesome, man. How's it going?
Another original Discord boy.
Another OG Discord boy.
Yeah. It's good. I've DM'd with you guys, and now we're doing phone calls, so it's like escalating the relationship.
Well, what we're trying to do is make sure that you guys get your VC chat, kind of out there, get those demons out of the closet there for the VC chat, give you boys something. So what can we help you with?
Alright, so I'm playing around with the idea of getting another bike. I have like the street style bike now. I'm thinking about getting a naked bike. But I also have this idea I just want to run by you.
Okay.
And my question is, what would you think when you see this guy pull up? And it would be a guy on a white 2020 Ninja 400 with a white helmet with a dark smoke shield. Like, what would you assume or think about that guy if you saw him?
If I saw a guy in a white Ninja 400 with a white helmet with the dark smoke shield, I just think that's a guy riding his bike. I don't know. Maybe, I'd have to see how he's kind of riding. I think you can tell a lot by how someone carries himself on a bike. If you see a guy, pull up to a stop sign, kind of skidding the rear wheel around a little bit, putting one foot down, like maybe popping a little baby wheelie, I'm like, okay, cool. That guy bought a little bike because he just wants to goof around with it. If you see that same guy in the Ninja 400 and he's waddling and kind of, not taking corners very quickly, kind of awkward body position, then I'm like, oh, okay, he's kind of a newer rider, kind of getting the ropes, kind of figuring it out. That's probably what I would think of it. Yeah.
I definitely think it's a stormtrooper look.
Yeah, for sure.
The white on white with the smoked shield.
Classic look.
And I know you're a Star Wars boy, so.
For sure.
Yeah, so what are you thinking about naked bike wise?
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at like the 500F. I like Honda's new like Neo Retro, but I don't think I'd want to do the 650. A lot's up in the air. I'm still debating it.
650 is a sweet bike, dude. I really, really like the one we had. So if you went with that one, I think you'd really enjoy it. What's funny is the guy who won the 650, he actually had a Ninja 400, and he was thinking about going kind of up, and he was riding it around. He texted me the other day. He's like, dude, this thing is awesome. It just purrs so nice, and it's just so nice to cruise around with. So that could be a cool bike.
It's a very pulled together ride.
Yeah.
I think you'll be surprised what 100 horsepower can give you.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little dangerous.
It's motorcycling, man. It's got to be a little dangerous. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, man. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Thanks for all you guys are doing.
Oh, for sure, man.
Content.
This is fun. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Catch you later.
All right, see ya.
That's cool. We're getting the original Discord boys.
I had a feeling they would show up. It's cool. We have some diehards. I'm kind of hoping that Bankshift Bill will show up. He's always pretty active.
He's definitely your fast boy friend.
Yeah. We'll see if maybe Taco will show up. Maybe do some dumb things on the phone for us. Give us the chaotic energy, All right, guys, I think we have time for like 2 more calls. If y'all want to join up, give us a call. Ask us anything you want. Any thoughts on the Rock helmets? Yeah, I've got thoughts on that, actually, if you want to chat about that really quick. Do you know about those helmets?
Yes, I do.
So, I really hate the way they look.
They're very, they're like, the kind of like pro street custom LA scene look.
Yeah, I really don't like the awkward kind of visor shape to it. I also think the designs are really tacky, honestly. It's got like the weird monsters and Joker and it's really not my scene. But I have heard that they make a good helmet and it's like a safe helmet, so that's good. It's not that they're putting out something that's unsafe. I think they used to make like snowboard helmets.
They look okay if you get them on the right bike with the right gear.
Yeah.
It's kind of in my opinion, it's like buying a style piece. Less, like to R.W. John's question, that guy on the white bike with a white like Rock helmet that fits the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, fine, but it kind of feels like you're paying for just the feel of a cool looking helmet.
Yeah. I think my thing is they're very similar to Icon in a lot of ways. So like super street focused, super, you know, like lifestyle focused, which is great because that I think Icon definitely needs a competitor in that space because everyone and their dog makes a track day helmet, right? Everyone and their dog makes an ADV helmet, but not many people are like 100% like street focused like Icon is. And so I think the Rubrock, you know, they're doing a good job at that.
As long as they're light and breathe, but they feel, having never held one, you know, Icons are heavy helmets.
Yeah, the materials in them are really cheap too.
Yep.
Yeah, unless you get the nice ones. All right, guys, give us a call. Come on. Call the number. I'm not asking anymore. I'm telling you. Saw a helmet a while back that was supposed to be a Halo Master Chief helmet, and I can't imagine anyone wearing those comfortably. Yeah, I've seen some of those like novelty helmets, I guess you would call them. They look weird.
And they're ridiculously dangerous too. And okay, so I rode an ADV helmet for the first time today to come up to the studio.
Oh, was that your first time with that helmet?
That was my first time on like highway speeds on my sport bike. It was horrible.
Oh yeah, it just creates lift.
As soon as I went to do a head check, it just threw I felt the whole helmet twist.
It takes a while to get used to it, yeah. You'll love it though whenever it's like, you know, the sun's kind of setting and then you can just kind of pitch down like this and it perfectly covers it. It's so nice. Yep. I love that about my helmet.
I'm definitely a little vain. I bought it specifically for my DRZ.
Yeah. Yeah, I bought all my gear for my desert sled, like my Revit jacket, my Revit pants, the Arai helmet, the gloves. I was like, I gotta look cool. And then I bought like even more dirt focused gear. I got like the Roland Sands like checkered shirt or whatever. So yeah, bikers are vain, guys. We're really, really vain, honestly. Like, it's really ridiculous. Give me a goddamn call! I'm not asking anymore. Come on.
We've got 15 people watching the stream and 4 people have called?
You'll be immortalized on the very first Yammie Noob podcast episode on YouTube. Yes, I also got all my ADV suggestions from Fortnite because he knows what he's talking about for the Adventure Boys.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you see his new BMW R1250 GS review?
Yeah. No, that's the first time I've seen him really rag on a bike.
He slaughtered it. I was like, oh my God. Dude, it's dead. Put it down. Jesus. Yeah, he f***ing killed that bike. I was like, oh my God. I agree with a lot of what he said, though. I mean, I do think it's getting silly, like these, you know, adventure bikes with 140 horsepower and like 600 pounds and all this stuff. Like, you really don't need that.
I mean, the whole punchline of that bike, though, was that the solenoid was electrically controlled and in the head.
Yeah.
And if you drop your bike, you're going to... Oh, here we go.
Got a call.
Isaac, you're on.
How's it going, man?
Hey, good. You sounded like a desperate girl trying to talk to her for a boyfriend.
Well, I wanted you to call. I made you call. I willed you into existence. So what is your question or your concern?
My concern is, no, that's good. No, I have a good question for you. Is there a way how to, like, you know, salvage plastic fairings? Because I wrecked my bike. I wouldn't say wrecked it, but the plastic nubs were the screws. I got a 2007 Kawasaki 650.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way that I can just like find a shop that can put the try to forge something for the screw holes so they can line up instead of buying a brand new kit?
So are you saying that the plastics are like cracked and busted, or are they like in decent shape?
Broken off. They're just broken off on where the plastic fairing meets to the screw holes.
Okay.
So there's a couple things to think about here. I think the first thing you got to think about for your fairings is like if you're able to screw them back on and make sure that they don't move, then you're in pretty good shape. The second thing you got to think about is like, do you want to get it back to like factory spec, or do you want to just like have fairings that look decent and you can kind of run? Because then that's going to make you go down 2 different roads. Because if you want to get it back to factory spec, basically you're going to have to get new fairings. That's going to be your only option. But if you're okay with your bike having kind of, you know, character and battle scars, as we call it, what you could do is like, you can drill a couple holes in the crack and then zip tie it closed and kind of make that structural change there. You could also sand the whole thing down and prime it and then repaint it and kind of make it look a little bit better. So you got a couple different options there. I'd have to see what it looks like in person to kind of see what you'd want to do with that. Dwight, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely think that, again, if you're not looking for that factory fresh look, the zip tie sutures look pretty cool, honestly, in my opinion, if they're done really well. It might hurt the resale if you're looking to get rid of it, but again, if you're also just wanting to get it going in the meantime while you order some fresh fairings, nobody's going to get on your case about having the things zip tied in place.
Yeah. So what you could also do is you could, you know, do that whole sanding, prime it down, and then you can, or before that, remove all your old stickers, and then what you can do is just order a factory sticker set, and you can kind of get pretty close to the factory look just doing it that way. That would be my suggestion with it. But sorry to hear you went down. Hopefully you're okay.
No, I was fine. Thank goodness. I mean, it was low speed though. When it happened.
Yeah.
Like 20 miles an hour. But if I could probably send you some pictures on which other chat on Discord.
I guess member bikes. You could put it up there, and then we'll take a look, and then yeah, hopefully we can get you sorted.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, man. Thanks for calling.
Yep. Bye.
Yeah, I kind of like the way they do it a lot in drift cars. They'll do like the zip tie sutures on the body fenders and stuff. But I've seen bikes with it too. It looks pretty cool. If you can do it along the crack and then like drill around it and then kind of cross stitch it, it actually looks really sick. Yeah, no,
I mean zip ties hold much of my DRZ in place right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, for those people out there who are trying to repair a motorcycle, if it's just something that you're not going to see, just zip tie it in place.
Yeah.
Literally, they're the wonder tool of the motorcycling world.
Yeah, and also like, you know, the actual factory zip ties stuff in place for a lot of stuff. You know, like on my desert sled, for example, like part of the cables and hoses and stuff, like some of those are zip tied in place from Ducati. Yep. You know, like it's a pretty normal thing. Zip ties, like you said, are a wonder tool. Like they are so strong, will hold it in place. Yeah. All right, guys, time for one more call, and I'm not gonna get aggressive with my sweet boys. All right, I'm not gonna yell at you like I did earlier. I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to yell at you, but I need another call.
Here we go. That did it.
All right. Hey,
you're on.
Oh, well, all right, dude. What's going on? You're on the air.
Hey, this is Wookie Goldberg. I'm a new guy on the Discord. I've heard you mention having back problems. And I was wondering, is there anything that you do special to help you deal with riding with back problems? And has it ever really caused you any big problems while riding?
Yeah, so for those who may not know, when I got into my first accident and then my second accident as well, basically I broke a lot of vertebrae. That camera just went out. 1 sec, I gotta turn the camera on. And I'll answer your question.
This is a pro operation we have going here.
Sorry.
Perfect.
Alrighty. So, to answer your question, for those who may not know, on my first accident, I broke a couple of my vertebrae, and then on my second one, I broke those same vertebrae. So what I did was I actually have a torn ligament in my T5 right now, and that does cause some burning and some pain when I ride a very aggressive, like super sport motorcycle for a long period of time. So I actually can't ride like an R1 or a 675R on the street for more than like 30 minutes without my back feeling really, really tweaked. So what I do is every morning I stretch out my back a little bit. I also do some yoga. It's really been pretty helpful, but at the end of the day, talking to my doctor, and it's just one of those things that I just kind of I gotta live with it. You know, it's just an issue that I have, and you know, it's just part of the game. So that's what I do. Do you have any kind of issues like that?
Yeah, I have a degenerative disc in like the very lowest spot on my spine.
Ouch.
And it goes out every now and then for basically no reason.
Yeah.
I've never ridden any kind of motorcycle before, so I really don't know what to expect.
Yeah, depending on how, I don't know anything about your injury, but for me, it's like very much like an angle-based thing. Like the further back that I have like my body kind of towards the bike, you know, it just adds a lot of pressure to that specific spot. Also, wearing a backpack really, you know, messes up my back pretty bad. So I would say for you, since you haven't ridden yet, go and sit on a lot of bikes and try to sit on them as long as you can at a dealership and kind of see if it starts making your back feel weird. You'll find that bikes that have a more upright seating position are probably going to be way better for your back for sure.
All right, well, once the virus goes away, I guess that's what I'll have to do.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, hopefully that all gets sorted out soon and we can all be back to, riding and having fun and hanging out in person. So thanks for calling, man. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Bye. Bye. Alrighty, boys, that's going to wrap up our call section for the podcast. I appreciate all of you that call. I appreciate all of you who tuned into the stream. Thank you so much. And we're going to keep it moving here. Now is everyone's favorite portion. We're doing a podcast version of It Came from Craigslist. I have sourced these myself. I hand-picked these boys for us to look at today. Do some bikes to look at, some absolutely wretched pieces of shit, to be honest. Got some real interesting bikes here. So up first, we have this 1986 Cavalcade GV 1400. Spite, have you ever seen anything quite like this?
It's like you had said earlier, this is when your mom says you have gold wing at home. This is the gold wing at home.
It's the gold wing at home, yeah. This is really interesting, mostly because Shade Tree Surgeon just put out a video where he was talking about the most hipster of hipster bikes, and he mentioned at the top of his list is like a 1980s Goldwing with like a cassette player. So I could actually see this thing being quote unquote cool, but only if you're like into this kind of thing, because otherwise, wow, this is just, I would never ride this thing.
There's a lot going on with it. I
Yeah.
mean, besides the fact that it looks like a 1980s big dad cruiser.
Yeah, it's just the most dad of dad cruisers. I can literally smell the cigarettes from here.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I'd like to see though, and we don't really get that much detail in the photos, is what Suzuki did to be, because everybody dogs on Suzuki, but they make these great bikes and have these little features that other people don't think of.
It's true.
Yeah. And so I gotta believe there's some stuff in there that's like, oh, good on you, Suzuki. I wish Honda did that, or I wish Yamaha did that.
Yes, so to be honest, I dog on Suzuki quite often on the channel because they're kind of like the lowest of low tier, the big four in my opinion. But they do make some interesting bikes. They made the Busas, they made, the DRZ. They do make some solid bikes, but yeah, for some reason they have this perception of just being like the lowest of low. So let's see what this guy says here about this bike. So he wants $1,150 for it. It's in all caps, so this is definitely a boomer. Classic touring model, worthy restoration project, does not run. Womp. Oof. No spark, engine turns over, bike is clean and mostly complete. I'm not liking these adjectives. I'm not liking mostly, doesn't turn over. But to be honest, no spark, that might just be spark plugs.
Yeah.
It might not be that big of a deal. But can you imagine working on that thing?
That would be, just looking at it gives me a headache because to get to the spark plugs, you probably have to pull that front bat wing off.
There's probably panel after panel after panel.
Yeah, it would be a freaking nightmare.
You gotta love the seat on it. It's like an office seat.
Yeah,
it's like a baby seat.
It's like they took it out of a bucket seat out of a car and slapped it on a motorcycle.
$1,150 for it. If you really want an 80s dad bike project, pretty good. But this is a pass for sure.
This thing it's atrocious.
Yeah, and again, we were mentioning the images are so low quality, you can't really see what's going on with it. You definitely have to go check it out in person and kind of see what's going on with it. So yeah, hard pass on this one.
Definitely.
Let's go to the next one. So up next, I picked this XR650L from 1997, going for $1,100. If you guys don't know about the XR line from Honda, this is Honda's version of the DRZ, basically. This is their kind of like indestructible dual sport bike. Carbureted, huge single cylinder kickstart, I think this might be, or not, I don't know.
I don't see a kickstart on the right side.
I don't see a kickstart either, but the XR 400s from the 90s were kickstart as well. But yeah, this is like literally like an apocalypse bike. This thing literally never die. Spite, what are you thinking about this one?
Well, first of all, could you imagine kickstarting a 650?
It would be tough.
You'd have a leg like a NFL punter.
Yeah.
But this thing is, dual sports have not changed.
No,
really.
It looks literally the same.
They age. Either people just don't care to develop them, or it's a classic timeless style. But it looks Like if they were to make that bike today, it would look literally like that.
You want to know a fun fact?
Do they?
They do make that bike just like that today. You can actually go to Woods over here, and they have a brand new 2019 XR650 being sold just like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think the 650 for your hardcore adventure boy is the right bike, honestly.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to do some like serious Ewan and Charlie long way round style stuff, don't get a big ass bike like what they had. Get yourself a 650 like this.
Yeah.
It's unkillable. It'll carry everything you need to do. You may not get there very quickly, but that's not the point.
Yeah, because it's not going to shred single track like a little 250 or a 400 would for the dual sports, but this on the highway is going to get you a lot more passing power. So if you're doing like a huge long distance type of thing on your bike, yeah, this is the bike. 650 is the one.
Absolutely.
I think, so this one is for $1,100. I mean, that's cheap as hell for any bike. It's beat up pretty good. You can see the owner definitely used it for what it was intended for. You're seeing some dirt over here. You're seeing some wear and tear. But it's an XR650 from 1997. If it was going to be pristine, I wouldn't even make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, you got to use these things. Yeah. So just says XR650L, good condition. Please text, we'll call back, and then we'll blur out that number that's on there. But yeah, so XR650 is a cool bike. Jake the Garden Snake has one. He did a crazy supermoto build on it. So they definitely have a lot of potential as motorcycles, and they're pretty sick. I'd get this. $1,100, why not?
Hell yeah. I mean, as long as it runs and turns over when you get there, absolutely. Pull the trigger. I mean, it's indestructible. It'll last forever. And yeah, again, if it runs, $1,100, perfect.
What'd you get for what'd you pay for your DRZ?
I paid $2,300 for my DRZ.
Yeah, but it was nicer than this. Yeah.
Slightly. I would honestly say that I probably overpaid a little bit for my DRZ.
Right.
It's probably.
You had to do a lot of stuff to it.
I had to do a lot of stuff to it. My DRZ was probably worth about $1,700.
Yeah.
So I'd say I paid a little bit more. The bikes just haven't changed.
No.
So there's really no big difference between getting a 97 and a 2007, you know? Aside from the modern ones probably have FI, but other than that.
Actually, this 650 is still carbureted, still sold as carbureted today.
No really?
Yeah, just like the KLR.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn. That's wild.
Yeah, and the DRZ. Yeah. Yeah, crazy. So yeah, that's a good one, I'd say. You know, pretty decent buy. Moving on, Spite. I got this one just for you. This is a Honda VFR 800 Interceptor in the red, white, and blue America paint scheme. Talk us through this one, because you know more about Interceptors than I do.
This is an atrocious paint job, honestly.
Is it factory or no?
I think that is the fact. I mean, yeah, it's definitely factory with that Honda there. But I'm not a fan, and this is again going to get me pilloried. I'm not a fan of the red, white, and blue Honda scheme. I'm really not.
Yeah.
I prefer it in red or white or flat red, honestly. And just, oh boy. Digging through here.
I don't think it's that bad, honestly. I think it's pretty decent. You know, it's kind of ugly,
it's
but
in good shape.
The guy took care of it. I mean, the chain's not rusty.
Yeah, and it's got
only got 22 on it.
Yeah, I mean this bike these VFRs will do 150,000 miles.
No problem. Yeah.
As long as you take care of them. I really do not like the look of the 5th gen Interceptor. I've got a 6th gen right out there. It looks like an old fat sport bike.
It does. It very much looks like an early 2000s like kind of aesthetic of a bike. Mm-hmm. They're really not my favorite looking thing as well.
But it is interesting looking at these, just how much of the VFR lineage you can see throughout all of the generations.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, like the tail, it looks almost exactly the same as mine. You know, just aside from the under tail exhaust.
Yeah.
It looks literally the same.
Well, let's take it on its merits. So I love that he says single-sided swing arm in the description, as if we can't see that in the photos. Undertail exhaust, yes, still available. So $2,000, a 2002 with 22,000 miles. I'd say that's a decent deal, honestly. Like, I mean, that's pretty cheap.
Yeah, if this bike starts up, runs good, and with Interceptors, you have to hear the fans come on.
Yeah.
If you don't hear the fans come on, run. These bikes run so hot that if you let it sit and idle and you don't hear those fans come on, it will overheat on you.
I
Definitely. But $2,000, I mean, I paid, mine out the door was like $7,000.
Okay.
So this is a pretty solid deal for a bike that's really early on in its lifespan.
Yeah.
But if you want that sport touring lifestyle, $2,000 is an easy deal.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah. I'd say if you're in the market for a VFR, you can do worse than this one for sure. I've seen some rattier VFRs than this. This is actually like relatively low mileage for VFRs because since they're sport touring, a 2002, I would expect to have an easy 50K on it.
Absolutely.
No problem, because people ride the crap out of them. So yeah, let's go on to our next one. This one is one that I found that I wanted to talk about because I think these bikes are so odd. So this is a Buell XB9S. If you guys don't know, Buell is from a guy called Eric Buell who used to work at Harley, who started developing his own sport bikes. He made his own company. He sourced Harley engines for them. It's a really long and complicated story. I made a video about it if you want to check that out. It's probably in the channel somewhere. But long story short, Eric Buell is kind of like a tortured artist for sport bikes and motorcycles. He just always wanted to make America's sport bike, and he never quite could. And so this is the Buell XB9S. So this is their, Buell's kind of like naked sport bike. It's got this big V-twin in it. Really, really interesting bike. If you look up more closely to it, you start realizing how weird it is. So Spite, did you see any weirdness in it?
It just automatically, that Undertale exhaust, just with no cover on there, is always something that shocks me a little bit, dumping heat right on the rear tire. But, just the whole look of it is very stubby and like there's not a wasted part on there. Yeah, honestly.
The three things that really stick out to me is its belt drive.
Yep.
The belt is on the opposite side of the sprocket normally is on a regular motorcycle. It's behind the swing arm. So normally you don't see that very often, have the swing arm kind of in front of it like that. That's a bit weird. And then also you have the front rotor behind the front fork as well. So it's a really weird setup on these bikes. They have a lot of weirdness going on with them.
Honestly though, a lot of that comes down to it being a Harley engine in there, because if you look at a Harley with a belt drive, that belt is exactly how it's done.
Yeah.
They run
on that side too, right?
Yep, the belt is always on the right, and the crazy thing is, to replace a belt on the bike, you have to disassemble the swing arm.
Yeah.
It's not, that's why people do chain swaps on Sportsters, is because if you bust the belt, you have to pull the swing arm off. And there's no way it gets rolling again. And that's why it's so strange seeing a sport bike with a belt on there.
Yeah, you really don't see this very often, to see a belt on a sport bike. But to be honest, a belt is actually the lowest maintenance way to supply power from the engine to the rear wheel. It's a super, super ease of maintenance type of thing. But to your point, when you do have to replace it, it's a disaster.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
So let's look at some other photos of this thing. I think it's relatively clean. Buell's always kind of give me a bit of a pause, because the Buell Blast, for example, was just, like a really wretched, kind of like really not a good, reliable motorcycle. I don't know about the XB9s, but is that tearing right here on the tank?
Yep.
Or on the seat?
Yep.
Yeah, it's got this big banana seat. It's torn right there a little bit.
It's a lot of it.
A lot of it, yeah. That seat's going to basically need to be replaced. That peg is broken off here. Well, folks, the Craigslist bike, the more you look at it, the worse it gets. Starts really adding up here. But what does he want for? How much? $1,200. That's dirt cheap. That's
does
crazy.
Does not run, though.
Where does it say that?
In the description.
Bike currently does not run because I haven't used it in a while. So that could be a bad battery. That could be just bad fuel, kind of clogging the lines. That could be spark plugs that have fouled. That could be a lot of stuff. So yeah, this is definitely a project bike. Yeah.
Admittedly, though, I would love to ride a bike like this.
Really?
I absolutely would love to go out and ride a Buell XB9. I'd like to just ride all the Buells out there, because they made that big adventure bike that kind of looks like the Pan America.
Yeah.
They made this. They made a fully fared sport bike. The Blast exists.
Yeah.
It's
the Blast does exist. No one wants it to exist, but it does.
I love Harley power plants, and this is essentially a Harley power plant. I'd love to go ride one.
I would love to ride the EBR 1190 RX that they made a couple years ago. That looks really sick. That looks like basically like America's version of the KTM RC8R. It looks so cool.
Is that still a Sportster engine in there though? Is that still the 1200?
No, it's some hopped up crazy engine. I don't know if it's from the Sportster, but I know it's like ridiculously hopped up.
It's probably an S&S one then, because very similar to Buell, Arch builds big V-twins, and they work with S&S mills, and they get a lot of power out of those bikes.
Those engines are huge in those Arch bikes.
Yes.
Yeah, they're huge. So yeah, I mean, this thing, it's a rebuilt title. Bike doesn't run. It's an absolute project bike. If you're into the Buell lifestyle, if you want to go down that road, this is definitely not a good first bike. This is definitely not a good only bike. This is definitely a kind of like, I bought it to kind of goof around and see what it could do type of bike. I would pass on this personally.
If it ran for $1,200, I'd buy it. Honestly, just because of the fact that it's a Buell.
Yeah.
And I honestly do like the look of these. There's actually one outside of our office here the other day. They're super cool. The fact that they keep the gas in the frame.
They're weird.
I mean, it's just so unique and so bespoke that it's just there's such a strange little part of motorcycling history.
It is funny, like anytime that I've been on like a group ride or I've been out somewhere and I see a Buell, I do get excited because I'm like, oh look, it's a Buell. You just don't see them like hardly ever. And whoever owns it like truly is like about the Buell, like they love the Buell and they want to own the Buell. So it's a cool bike. But let's see this last one. This last one's a bit of an oddity as well. So this I pulled up. I actually have no idea what this bike is. I wanted to talk to you about it because it's a very odd. Apparently this is a 1983 Yamaha IT490. To me, when I hear 490 in those kinds of intervals, it sounds like someone took like a 450 and bored it out or stroked it out or did something to it. But I don't know. I don't know anything about this bike. But I thought it looked cool, so I wanted to show it on It Came for Craigslist.
That thing is wild too. I mean, it looks, this is, assuming it like runs and works, this is also probably just another indestructible motorcycle. Yeah. It looks like a farm bike with that big knobby rear tire in there.
Yeah. That rear tire's fat. Yeah.
I wonder how big it is. It's hard to tell because we don't have anything in the back for scale.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like full-size dirt bike. But that makes it look really small too.
It might just be the angle, but yeah, I think it's a full-size dirt bike though, and I think this is like an old Yamaha like motocross bike, maybe like the old Suzuki RMs or something like that. So
no lights on there.
Yeah, no lights, no turn signal. So this is definitely a true blue dirt bike. But this IT, I've never heard of these bikes. So I wanted to see the description on it. It's only $1,600. So it really caught my eye. It says, price reduced, ready to ride 1983 IT490 two-stroke. I'm already interested. Newer tires, fresh fluid, and a new air filter. A new Yamaha tool bag has been attached along with the new front chain slide vintage repair book, also included, no other parts available. 1600 OBO. I mean, it's a really interesting bike.
Yeah.
Like
it's so, the baby blue and the yellow, I mean, it's
really attention grabbing,
Yeah. I don't have any like knowledge of it. I've never heard of it before.
I have no reference point for the Yamaha IT. Yeah, I've never heard of it. So if anyone in the comments knows about these Yamaha ITs, please let us know down below. But I literally picked this just because I thought it looked really sick in this blue, and it looks pretty fresh. But again, I just want to point out that it's a 1983 two-stroke engine, so it's carbureted two-stroke. This is going to be a pain in the ass to get it to run correctly. I can almost guarantee you that you're probably going to be futzing with the jetting, with the air-to-fuel, with the two-stroke. It's going to be a big pain in the ass, but mechanically simple, right? Like two-stroke carbureted, it literally doesn't get simpler than that.
Yeah. And, everybody in the Discord lately has been like, two-stroke. That is true, I hate two-strokes. Oh my God.
Yeah, do you really?
I hate two-strokes.
You've never ridden one though, right?
Yes, I have.
Oh, have you?
They make good power. They're fun. I cannot stand the sound. They sound like a freaking weed whacker.
Yeah.
They smell. It's just, ugh.
Oh man, you are gonna get destroyed for these comments about two-strokes. It's the classic two-stroke, man. It's the dream. It's the motorcycling vintage vibe. I think they're cool in the right applications. I think, like KTM makes that new two-stroke, that 300 TPI XC, whatever the hell.
It's alphabet soup.
So many alphabet soup with KTM, but they do make a new fuel-injected two-stroke 300 for like off-roading, which super cool. That's super badass that exists. But yeah, as far as like a road bike goes, like two-stroke, I would definitely not rock. That's just so much of a headache.
Because don't you have to mix the fuel for a two-stroke? You have to mix the oil and the fuel?
Honestly, I don't know. I've never owned a two-stroke. I don't know about them, but I know they have a bunch of oddities about them.
I had to do that on my weed whacker, so that's my reference point. It was that thing was such a pain in the ass. I went and just got one that I could plug into the wall.
Yeah,
so
get an electric one.
It's just it looks really cool, honestly.
I would buy this just as like an art piece, honestly. Just like if I had like a cool shop or something, or like a cafe, like I just get this. I do. Yeah, I do. Put it up on a wall somewhere. It looks really badass. So yeah, I might get it just to put it up on the wall.
It's such again, just to show that dual sports have not changed. The style
this is like a motocross
aged.
bike, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Where it's like the styling is the same. Mm-hmm. Like once they figured out that formula, they just ran with it. Yeah, it just works. But yeah, that's our last bike for today, and that's going to wrap up our podcast for today. If you guys did enjoy this, please let us know down below in the comments. If you want to, feel free to subscribe as well. We're going to try to do these once a week in this new studio space that we have. I think this went pretty well, I think.
Maybe next time we'll have some chairs, and I'll be like a little
hopefully, yeah, this is our temporary setup in here, so this is not how we're actually going to do things, but we're waiting on furniture because of the virus. Things are not happening and things aren't shipping, but eventually we'll have a cool setup in here for you guys, and you'll be able to check it out. Thanks so much for watching. Hit the link down below to yammie.co if you want to join our Discord and chat with us on our call-in section as well. And with that, I bid you all farewell. Spite, give them a shout out, a goodbye or something.
I'll catch you all next time. I cannot wait to read those comments.
Yeah, those comments are going to be great.
Spicy.
So spicy.